In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to create this clean 1v1 map in Uefn. And before I start this tutorial, please make sure to join my Discord. The link is down in the description. It'll be really appreciated, and let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so I created a new island, and what you're going to want to do is come down to the content drawer and look up black floor. And this is the one we're looking for. We're going to place it down, and we're going to do 5x6 tiles. Once that is done, it should look something like this. You're going to want to delete the 2 player spawners and then also delete the 4 grid planes on the ground. So you should be left with something like this. Just move this to the side. This is your island settings, which we'll get to later. Make sure to not delete that. Next, what we're going to do is go back to the content drawer and we're going to look up black stair. So it should be this one right here. You're going to place that down and make sure it's in the center of the 5. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 this way. So we're gonna have to flip the ramp and bring it into the middle. Duplicate and then swap. Once you've done that, it should look something like this. It should be 6 by 5, and the 2 ramps should be put in the middle of the 3rd one. Now I'm going to come to the top middle here, and I'm going to go to shapes and then go to cylinder. In cylinder, I'm going to come down here and make the height 0.2, and then I'm just going to adjust the size until it's the same length and width as the floors. Once you've done that, it should look something like this. My cylinder is 24.5 by 24.5 by 0.2, and just you want to make sure that the middle is aligned of the middle of the 2 ramps, and you can actually see here that these are not actually in the circle. So all you got to do is just select these 4 corners and delete them. So once you delete those 4 corners, you're going to want to select all of the black floors. You can find it at the top right and just Control Shift. Then you're going to want to go to all here or go to rendering and actor hidden in game. Check that on. Making the floors hidden in game will allow the players to actually build, since they can't build off a plane. Now change the cylinder that you put down to any color of your liking. I'm going to do black for this video since we've also done black stairs. And that is it for the 1v1 base. Now we're going to do the reset builds. To create the reset builds button, what you're going to need is the explosive device. Drag that out onto the map in between the ramps. Go into your content drawer, look up button, drag that out, and then also look up trigger and drag that out into your island. First, we're going to put the button in a spot where both players on each side can interact with the button to reset the builds. I think about here in between the ramps is good. And then we'll size it up to 2. And then for the settings, interact time 0, trigger sound no. You can just make the text reset builds. Visible during game, yes. Interact radius, make it pretty large so players can easily interact with it. And that's all the settings the button needs. Next, we're going to go into the explosive device and you're going to copy these settings. Can be damaged, no. Blast radius, we're going to put in 10,000 in the search bar. Make sure you copy it, and then you're going to paste it in here. Make sure player damage is on 0. Put the structure damage to max. Put the knockback to none. Play audio VFX off. Visible during game off. Collision during game only when visible. Show health bar off. And put the time until reset allowed to 0.3. And also make sure play audio is off as well. Once you're done setting up the settings for the explosive device, you're going to go to the trigger. You do visible during game off. Trigger by player off. Trigger by vehicles off, sequencer off, water off. Make the trigger delay 1 second, and make sure trigger VFX and SFX are both off. Once you set up all 3 devices, you're going to go into your explosive device. You're going to go to explode. You can use this little pen tool to select the button. Do button on interact. Then you're going to go to the trigger and do trigger when the button is on interact. And then finally, go to the explosive device, go to reset when the trigger is on triggered. And that's it for the reset builds function. Everything should be working, and we'll actually test it later to show you guys that it does work. The next thing to set up is the out of bounds mutator zone. So this is when the player falls off the map, they will teleport back onto this platform. The two devices that you'll need is the teleporter, which you can find once again in the content drawer. Drag that out onto the island. And then you're also going to need the mutator zone, and also drag that out into the island. Firstly, we're going to set up the settings for the teleporter. So you can actually see when you look at it, there'll be a streak right there, a line. You want to make sure that that is facing towards the build fight and in the middle of the build fight. So we'll put that around there and bring it back. Now for the settings, this will be group none, teleporter rift visible during game off, play visuals off, play sound effects off, conserve momentum off, face player in teleport direction. This is important because this is where the players will look if that streak line right there is pointing this way. And then maintain relative position off, and that is it for now. Next, you're going to take your mutator zone. You're going to make sure it's below the platform, and you're going to do 100 by 100. So it should look something like this. Your island should be pretty green now. You just bring it to the middle, and then the settings will affect players. Yes, this is all fine. Enable VFX off, allow building off, and that should be it. Now after you set up your mutator zone, go to your teleporter, click teleport when mutator zone is on player entering zone, and make sure you save that. So now when the player falls off the map, they'll now be teleported into the teleporter facing the 1v1 ramp, so they can start 1v1ing again. If you want to be even more advanced, where when the player falls off it also destroys the builds, you can go into the explosive device, and what you can do is go down to explode. You're going to click the plus again, add pick teleporter on teleported, and make sure you go to the trigger, scroll down, and do trigger when the teleporter is on teleported. The next thing we'll be doing is how to change your health from 200 to 180. Now this has multiple devices, so make sure you guys take your time with this and slow down the video if needed. The devices you'll need will be the switch device. It should be the first one at the bottom. Yep. Make sure you drag that out and let's rotate it. The next thing you'll need is to go into content drawer, look up class, and you'll need both the class designer and the class selector. And lastly, you'll need another mutator zone. Since we have multiple mutator zones, I'm going to name this one mutator zone 180 health, and then I'm going to duplicate this exact same mutator zone and call it mutator zone 200 health. Now the setting for both these mutator zones will be, you want to scroll down, enable VFX is off, allow weapon fire on, building on, and that should be it. Next, you'll need a class designer and a class selector. Bring those over, and you want to actually duplicate them because we'll need two. I'm going to name the first class selector 180 health. And then I'm going to name the second one class selector 200 health. And then you don't need to change the name for both the class designers because you won't actually need to connect them to anything. Now we're going to start off with the class selector 180 health. You want to go to class to switch. Make sure you click class slot, and let's make it class 2. Then go into the class designer in front of it and also make this class number 2. Then go to the first class designer, go to the search bar and look up shield. Max shields 100 and starting shields percentage you want to make 100, and then max shields we'll put to 80. This will make it where the player's max shields will only be 80 instead of 100. Next, we're going to go to the second class selector, and we're going to make the class to switch to 3. So we'll need to do that for the same thing for this other class designer, 3. And this time, instead of making the shield 80, we will be making it 100. So it'll be 100 shield percentage and 100 max shield. And make sure you save both of them. Now for the first class selector, we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. We're going to do change player to class when mutator zone 180 health is on player entering zone. Then we're gonna do the same thing over here. Change player to class when mutator 200 health is on player entering zone. Oh yeah, sorry. You also want to come into your mutator zones and make sure that they are not enabled during game. So you're gonna go to enabled on phase, and you're gonna do none. Then what you're gonna want to do is go to your first mutator zone, which is zone health 180. You're going to want to come all the way down to the bottom, and we're gonna do enable when the switch is turned on, and it disables when the pick switch is turned off. And we're gonna do the exact opposite for the 200 health. We're gonna enable it when pick switch is turned off, and disable it when pick switch is turned on. Now make sure for both mutator zones to bring them into the middle. They can overlap. Select both of them, and then you want to make the zone width 100, the zone depth 100, and the zone height also 100. And just like that, you now have a mechanic where you can switch between 180 health and 200 health. Now we're going to create the weapon wall. So you want to come up to the top middle again, go to shapes, and put down a plane. You want to rotate it 90 degrees so it's facing you. And then you're going to import this mesh and put it on the plane, just like that. Don't worry, this graphic is actually free. All you got to do is go down to my description and join my Discord, and it'll be under free assets. Once you've imported into your map, you actually want to make it bigger so the size actually looks decent, and also make sure it is centered. I still think we can make it a bit bigger. Oh, sorry, I just clicked on the button. Make sure you I'd say about that, and make sure it's pretty off the ground a little bit, just like so. And then make sure you bring it back enough, just like that. So now that we have the graphic down, go into your content drawer, and you're going to look up item placer, this one right here, and drag it onto the world. For the settings, make sure to just tick off the can be damaged at game start. Go to your item list and then add any weapons you want. So I'm just going to add the gold pump shotgun. Should be right here. Yep, there it is. Rotate it 90 degrees. And then all you got to do is just align it with the graphic you just imported. Just like that. And now simply all you got to do is just copy and paste it, and then just keep changing the weapon. So now we'll add a blue pump, which should be pump L3, this one. And that's all you got to keep doing. Just drag it down. Let's add an assault rifle. We'll do the scar first, gold scar, which is L5. And then we'll copy and paste it once again. And now we're going to add the blue assault rifle, which should be L3, just like that. And you just keep doing that until your weapon wall is fully filled out. Now that I'm finished the weapon wall, I'm just going to adjust the size so it actually fits the weapons. So around that looks good, and then height, that looks good. I'm going to lower it a little bit, and just like that, we have created a weapon wall. Now to make this look even better, we're going to copy this exact same plane and just bring it up. In the same section on my Discord, I'll have this weapons texture. All you got to do is just bring it down, drag it into the map, and then just resize it, and make sure you put it just a little bit above the weapons wall, and that just lets the players know that there are weapons over here and just makes it look even more clean. We're actually going to do the same thing for the switch, so just copy and paste the plane, and you want to drag it over to the switch. I'm going to rotate it downwards, bring it down closer to the switch, and like I said, in this same section, I'm also going to have these two graphics, the 200 and the 180. I'm going to drag the 180 onto this plane here. I'm going to readjust it to actually fit the switch around, around like that. I'm going to bring it to the switch, just like so. I'm going to readjust it even more because it honestly looks pretty weird, just like that. Then copy and paste the 180's texture, go into the content drawer and just drag on the 200, bring right beside, and just like that, it looks even more clean, and the players know that if they turn it on to the right, they'll get 180 health, and if they turn it off to the left, they'll have 200 health. I actually forgot to add heals over here, so what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to select them all, drag them over just a little bit, and then I'm just going to copy and paste two of the things over here, drag them down, and then I'm going to go on this one, and I'm going to change this to the small shield potion. And I'm going to change this one to the, what is it called? It's called the, is it just called shield pot? Yeah, to the legacy shield pot. Just bring them down even more. I'll face it so it looks better. And there, now we have heals on the weapon wall. Now that our 1v1 map is complete, all we got to do is now do the island settings. So you're going to come to the top right, and you're going to look up island settings, and it should be the first thing to pop up, and click on that. Once you've clicked on that, you want to make sure that the max players is 2, so when people load in publicly, they'll only be able to fight another player, not have 16 players load in. Total rounds will be 1. Everything seems to be good. Make sure join in progress is on spawn. Make sure down but not out is on off. Make sure that on elimination, the player is granted 200 health, and that on eliminated players' items will keep. Now come down to the shields and make sure the starting shield percentage is also on 100. Make sure building can destroy environment is off. Make sure you put infinite reserve ammo on, and infinite building resources on as well. As well as making sure that infinite consumables is on, so they'll have infinite minis and shield pots. Put start with pickaxe on and pickaxe destruction as default. Make sure environment damage is on players built only, so no one can actually break the ramps, they can only break players' buildings. Make sure enable fire is off, and then you can put structure damage, keep it at all actually. Now this is important to make sure your map is bright, come to time of day, and make sure it's on 2 AM. And that's it for the island settings. I actually forgot one step. You do need 2 player spawners, so just go into your content drawer, look up player spawner. It should be the only thing that pops up. Yep, this one right here. Place it down. You want to place it down about just ahead, or maybe actually let's put it behind where the teleporter is. You want to make sure that it's actually facing the direction of the 1v1 fight. You're going to copy and paste it so there's 2 spawners, and then you want to turn off visible in game, and make sure you save that. Now that the map is complete, I'm going to launch session and show you guys how it looks in game. By the way, I've just noticed after loading in that I actually put time of day at 2 AM. You want to make sure you put it at 2 PM. This will actually make it bright. Now I'm going to push changes and I'll show you guys how it looks in game. So I've just loaded in and it looks like these are actually showing. So to simply fix this, all you got to do is go back to Uefn. You can select both of them, and then there should be a few settings. Visible during game should be off. Activation audio and zone audio should be off. Make sure that volume visible in game is off, and make sure that throttle class changes is also off. Save these, and I'll go back and just show you guys and prove that it does work, so you guys can see that I'm able to build. When I click this button, it should break the builds, and then you can see the weapon wall here. I can grab my guns just like that. I can build. I suck at it though. Go back to the break builds button. Breaks the builds, and I can go here. When I click it, you can see I switched to 180 health, and if I click it again, I go back to 200. That is the end of the tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment in the comment section what tutorial you guys would like next. Also make sure to join my Discord. The link is down in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.